Well, I'm on the farm here today, and the power's out. It doesn't look it right now, but not too long ago we had some serious winds and some big thunderstorms. It's been really dry here. I'm not sure whatever rain we got actually made it to the creek. Normally the kind of rainstorm that we had would transform this creek into a muddy mess. So what I want to talk about today is grease that we use on the farm, and some grease that we're going to try. And I got a whole box of grease right here of different types, and Crown and Chassis 880. That's by Texas Refinery Corp. I've got Schaeffer's 219 grease. I've got Lucas marine grease. I've got Stay Lube marine grease. I got this from Napa. SuperTech general purpose grease. That came from Walmart. Lucas extra heavy duty grease. And Lucas red and tacky grease. And this other grease over here is the Texas Refinery 880 Crown and Chassis grease. So over the years, we've used a variety of different grease on our equipment, and from general purpose to this red and tacky, and it's not always Lucas, it's somebody else, but we've always used really it boils down to more of a general purpose grease. And I wanted to try some different grease this year, and so I've assembled a bunch of cartridges here that I've ordered over the internet, or I've just bought outright. So as you can see, we have equipment that sits outside that has grease zerks and things like that, and of course our mower conditioner and occasionally our baler sits outside, and we're very keen on re-greasing everything when we go to use it, because the water has a way, I think, of washing the grease out of some of the areas where you probably need it the most. So I went to the information superhighway, the internet, and I just started reading about some different greases, and one grease that kind of caught my attention was marine grease. And the application there is boats and wheel bearings that go underwater when you're launching a boat. Some things I read about marine grease is it's waterproof, and it has anti-corrosion properties, which maybe all grease has anti-corrosion properties, but the thing that stuck with me was waterproof. And so if we're going to leave equipment out, I'd like to have grease in the grease zerks that is not going to get washed out by rain, although probably some of it will. So then I started reading more and more and going to different websites and looking, and I discovered not just marine grease, but this Schaeffer's 219 grease, which is waterproof, extreme pressure grease. And I don't know a lot about grease, even though I'm a engineer, hotshot engineer in my day job, but I do have some a little bit of common sense. I do farm, but that's an asterisk. But in any event, some of the greases that seem to be highly recommended was the Schaeffer's 219, and in particular the 880 crown and chassis grease. And one of the comments I read on the internet is, for applications where you're going to get water intrusion, you know, marine grease is better than the general purpose grease. And I'm not sure, you know, what the purpose of red and tacky grease is. Surely the tacky is to keep it from sticking, but if it's, maybe it doesn't melt away from the wheel bearings, you know, the balls in a bearing, something like that. But in any event, one of the comments, or some of the comments I read in particular about this Texas Refinery Corp, TRC, 880 crown and chassis grease, was that while it costs more, you'll use less. I found that kind of an interesting comment. And some people, I kind of got the impression, like, you know, I had a doctor one time, and he regarded cough drops as candy, and he said, you know, that candy's not going to do you a lot of good if you got a cold. Let me give you something that actually works. And some people on the internet, they kind of regard marine grease, general purpose grease, as candy. And if you want really good grease for your equipment, this Crown and Chassis and this Schaeffer's is the cat's meow. So not knowing nothing about nothing, the first thing I looked at on these greases is an NGLI rating. And so I don't know if you can see that or not. I said NGLI, NLGI. And so this is a grade 2, and this is just your general purpose Walmart grease. The Lucas NLGI number 2. The red and tacky Lucas NLGI number 2. Extra heavy duty grease NLGI number 2. The Schaeffer 219, I think it's on here somewhere. This says NLGI number 2 if it's the yellow cap, which is what I got here, not a red cap. And then the Crown and Chassis grease, NLGI number 2. So that makes me wonder, oh yeah, this Stay Lube here, it's NLGI number 2, grade 2. So it makes me wonder, is this Walmart stuff, is there any reason not to use that? They're all NLGI number 2 in spite of their individual reputations. So then the next thing I looked at is drop point temperature. And I guess that's the temperature at which the grease would most probably start dripping or running, maybe running out of your bearing. So on the SuperTech, it's 350 degrees. On the Lucas Marine grease, it's 550. I should think the higher the number, the better. On the red and tacky, it's 540. On the extra heavy duty, it's not on there anywhere. On the Schaeffer 219, found this interesting, up to 250 degrees higher. It says withstands higher heat range than conventional greases up to 250 degrees higher. It says, so it really doesn't give that drop temperature, and I might be looking at it and don't see it. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's like 750 degrees instead of 500? I just don't know what that means. And on the crown and chassis grease, they don't give that number. But it is the original grease, red grease with gold flakes, whatever that means. I guess if you see gold flakes in your grease, it's not shavings from the transmission. And then this Stay Lube grease right here, it says 500 degree minimum. That's all. These are Fahrenheits. So you know, when you talk about grease and oil, and you read on these online forums, or you talk to your buddies at work, and sometimes grease and oil can be like being back in high school in today and talking about girlfriends. You know, if you say the wrong thing, then it's Katie bar the door, everybody's mad as a match. And I know people have their favorites on grease, and sometimes they have good reason for it. Same thing with oil. And sometimes they don't have a clue. That's just what they've always used, which is legitimate, of course. And anyway, it can be a passionate subject. So I'm trying to approach this with an open mind. And as I look at this, I think, well, you know, this general purpose grease, they're all in NLGI, so 350 degrees. And I look at the marine grease, and I get that it's waterproof, which we would like for that equipment out there, equipment like that. But it also has a 550 degree dropping point. And so it makes me wonder, is the red and tacky grease, you know, waterproof? Is the extra heavy duty grease, and what makes it good for trucks? This stuff right here, it's waterproof. And of course this 880 crown and chassis is waterproof. Water resistant, less than 1.3% water washout. I don't know how you'd measure that on a piece of farm equipment. And again, the Stay Lube is a water resistant marine grade. And so I'm not really sure what to make of it all. Some of this grease is this is a calcium sulfonate grease. I don't know what this stuff is made of. This is a lithium complex grease. This extra heavy duty is a polyurea grease. This Schaeffer 219, I have no idea what it's made of. And same thing with the crown and chassis. Now I do know that the crown and chassis grease is used like on drilling rigs, like rock drills going down in the ground. You know, extreme pressures and very, very severe environments. If you Google this Texas refinery 880 crown and chassis grease, I mean, it sounds like some of the most durable grease you can buy. Would we take our equipment to those limits? Probably not, but I don't know. Maybe that's the cat's meow. So what we're going to do is we're going to try some of this grease in our equipment this year. And, you know, we got a slew of this general purpose grease, and I think we got a few tubes. I'm not sure what make it is, but probably something from Tractor Supply, of a red and tacky grease. I couldn't find any tubes, but I'm pretty sure there's some around here. And we're going to try some of this grease and see what we think of it. I'd be curious in the comments what your experience is with grease. I can tell you this. My brother had a Nissan truck one time, and I don't remember what year it was, but it's been over 25 years probably. And he from the day he bought that truck brand new, he bought Advance Auto. Around here we have AutoZone, Advance Auto, and Napa. If you go to the big city, they have O'Reilly's. But he bought Advance Auto oil, like 10W30, and he bought a Fram filter, and he ran that thing, I don't know, way over 100,000 miles. I don't think he got to 200,000 miles, and he had it 10 years. It was all city traffic, and it was all you know, it was all used, you know, stop and go. It wasn't highway mileage or anything like that. And in any event, he got great service out of that truck. He never had a mechanical breakdown ever with regard to lube. I think starter motor went out on it when it got really old. But the point I'm making is that he frequently changed his oil and filter like every 3,000 miles. And probably the bottom line with all this grease is if you do your homework and you're due diligent about maintaining your equipment, this general purpose grease will probably deliver the mail for as long as the equipment has a useful life. So, but nonetheless, I thought I would try some of these different greases this summer, and thought I would share them with you. Again, I'd be curious as your comments. So anyway, that about does it for this video. We'll talk to you later.